Alright then. Next up. Yeah, I think we're good to go. We're going to completely shut that down. Yes, I realise my suit is quite low at this point. You don't need to put much in these at all. They require very little uranium and will last quite a long time. So we have to bring home uranium, and we will then rob what is left in this miner along with what is left in that beacon upon the return to refine said uranium and refill said beacon and miner, so that you can actually then get what you probably wanted in the first place. It's not ideal, but you just don't have the resources. So let's launch off here real gently so we don't flame the refinery. Is the ore detector on? Yes. Good. Okay. Iron. Not what we want right now. What we really want is a nice sort of honeycomb asteroid. Something we can get inside. There we go. I tend to prefer these for the simple reason that it makes it much easier to see the ores. And fly this in first person. Oh, it wasn't a cave? But that, however, unless I'm much mistaken, is uranium. How's that? No, I didn't put a spotlight on this thing. I'm hoping you can see okay. The last video did turn out a little darker than I thought it would. Actually, just a second. What have I got on me? Yeah, I'm sure this is far too dark for you to see. So let's see about putting a spotlight on this thing. I'll put my welder away. Why did it do that? I mean, I realise I tried to put something in a slot with a right click and I didn't have a slot free, but of course I don't have a bloody interior plate. Oh, look at that, works without one. Awesome. Now, yeah, I get this weird grid-like, voxely nastiness when I'm... Oh god, yeah, it's shaking all over the place. I'm probably going to keep this view for now, because as I said, this isn't designed to go in very deep. As you can see, if it tries to tunnel, it'll rip its thrusters off. It's also so light that it's shaking all over the place. But its job is merely to get us enough uranium that we're off the clock, you know? And then you can worry about building a better miner. Or, you know, whatever else it is you're going to do. Horribly. This is really slow with one drill. It's been a while since I ran a new game. I've forgotten just how bad these single drill ships are. You do tend to lose quite a bit of the ore when When you're drilling like this, and you can see it escaping. There's iron in there as well. I'm gonna grab that. I'm creating a bit of a hole. I don't really want to do. Just widen it off. See it banging against the walls. If you try and push in too deep, what you'll probably do is tear your thrusters off. It's easily done. Yeah, much more like it. You do have to fight this the whole time a little bit. More gyros will help somewhat. But as I said, the mass is a big thing. I normally run... Well, cobalt. No, it was nickel we wanted, wasn't it? Turn off the lights. Yeah. Much better frame. I normally run about 4 gyros on my 30-ton miner. As you can see, this is barely 3 tons. Magnesium, iron, cobalt. I just don't actually see any nickel. I've forgotten what nickel looks like as well, to be honest. Silver. Oh, silicon. That's something we need. I mean, we've been burning computers for silicon. I think we can get at it better in this. Oh, I don't want to have to go through too much rock if we can possibly help it, you see. On with the lights. Yeah, here we go, down into this. There's our silicon. Yeah, I find it has to be this view when you're bucking around this much. Otherwise you just can't see which way you're facing, because holding position is a combination of occasionally pushing forward to go deeper into the hole, strafe drives and your gyros trying to hold your heading, because these drills are really squirrely. Look at all that ore flying on into space. Normally I have some sort of capture mechanism, but this is a bit early in the game for that sort of thing, obviously. Oh, what's that? I find these surface deposits that you get often have a number of different types right next to each other. They may not all display. For instance, there's something next to this silver iodized iron. Oh, I don't think nickel is the reddish brown one. There's one that's a sort of iron-like reddish brown, but I'm thinking that's cobalt maybe. It should be silver. Really don't need much silver. You've got 2 uses for it: reactor components and medical components. You've got tons of reactor components because you've got 3 large reactors on the main ship. And medical components, you're just never going to need that many of. Okay, where should we go? I need something hollow, really. Zeroing, I've lost it a bit. This has reasonable thrust because it's so light. One with quite a trench through it. Brakes on. Yes, this should expose lots of ore pockets. That's why I do like these asteroids with the hollowed out interiors. Nickel, there it is. Where are my wings? Oh, yeah, I was right, that is a reddish colour, yeah? Yeah, it is. Just wasn't the one I was looking at last time. It was in fact iron. So I'm going to get a bunch of nickel. Should have really got cobalt too for motors. If your next move is going to be to upgrade your miner significantly, higher drill count, conveyor system, things like this, then your first trip out you need to be hitting uranium for fuel, definitely. I mean, obviously. However, you're also going to need considerable amount of nickel and cobalt to craft more motors. You're also going to need a good chunk of silicon to make more displays, cockpits, computers. These are the resources you do need to be grabbing. Look at this. Yeah, one gyro wasn't enough, that's for sure. I got it at 100%, but I'm barely holding it, and I'm not controlling this at all. I'm trying to keep it pointed straight up as it wanders across the roof. Okay, got a good amount of uranium, some silicon, very little iron, some silver, loads of nickel. Magnesium I'm not going to bother with, it's explosives, weaponry. Cobalt, that was the other one, wasn't it? Alright. I didn't pick up any gold, any platinum. You will need gold if you're going to make lots more computers, this is true. Just didn't happen to see any. We're going to head back just now. Get this lot into the refinery and get it running. That first asteroid we tried. It looked really hollow. But I didn't find one with what I was after, you know, the sort of catacomb style. Often with those, you know, you get in there, somewhere in that asteroid you will find every ore. Maybe not plentiful, but you'll find a bit of everything. I do tend to find there is sometimes uranium on this starting asteroid. One option is to build a large station-sized ore detector before you head off with your miner, just to scan your asteroid. Let's bring this in here. And of course I don't have to unload at the refinery. If this ore was dropped into absolutely any container, it will start running. Oh wow, depth perception. I thought I was so much closer than that. So fine. We have a massively overfull inventory anyway. just to prove, well, actually, that's an interesting idea. Maybe this won't feed into the refinery. No, it won't. The conveyor system that runs these hatches door to door requires power. So when your reactors are off, it won't actually move. It's a danger I found if you're building say you're building some miner and you want all its reactors sealed away, and you're planning to do all the refueling of the reactors, by pushing the uranium into cargo canisters and letting the conveyors suck it around the system and refuel the reactors. That works fine. It's a great design. What you can't do is put the initial uranium in that way, because the conveyors aren't on to move it. So what I often end up doing is sticking an extra reactor just arbitrarily on the side, boot it up to pump the fuel where it needs to go. Then you can take that reactor off again once the others are all fed. But it's just useful to remember. Alright, I will put... I still haven't put up there. Oh, that's my inventory, isn't it? What I will do is I will power down the beacon now that we're back, and that fuel will go back in the base reactor. You only need the beacon when you're away from home anyway, don't you? As I was saying, I'll have to go straight into the reactor. The conveyor system isn't running. As soon as that uranium does appear, however, the conveyor system should start up. So we get to see if I've hooked everything up correctly now. Be redropped. No, you know what, I probably just messed up the connections again between these two. I struggle a great deal to hook up the refinery correctly. It's such a big model, you've got to go to third person camera, even to place it to get the wider view field. It's a right bugger. Anyway, we'll do this manually. Why is that? Now, of course, drills are one of the storage containers that are affected by your inventory realism. On any realism setting, drills store ridiculous amounts of ore. The only time you need to consider, maybe I should put I don't know, maybe you want to put a cargo container on your drill ship and run your conveyors in, so for extended mining operations. They do have to be very extended mining operations to require that. Oh look here, no, I do have a connection correctly set up somewhere. The uranium you see here being produced in the refinery is never rising above about 10 grams, 100 grams. It's being created in the refinery and immediately being shuttled through into that reactor there. Alright, so that is the basics of how to play the crashed red ship scenario. You now have what is admittedly a very compact and small version, but you have what you had for the easy start scenarios. You have a miner. Okay, mine is considerably worse than theirs. You don't have the fighter, you've got a bit less resources than the cargo can, but this is the basic, sustainable setup for space engineers. You need the refinery, you need an assembler to produce the components. Gravity is a luxury, as I said, I never use it. And so are medical rooms, to be honest. I don't use those either. I very rarely build them. Just try not to die. You can see they're all bits and pieces. Building away. Okay, so I am going to leave this video here. I hope you guys learned something about how to bootstrap one of these starts and get, hit the ground running as quickly as possible. There are a great number of resources still in that wreck we never touched. All those thrusters along the tops. And they don't contain motors or computers. The only computers I left, I didn't touch the reactor in the cockpit room. That's completely untouched. There are possibly a few bits and pieces, but we fairly tapped that out in order to build the mining ship. I hope you guys have fun. I mean, I'll see you soon. Scenario. Bye.